ahead and hit File. We're going to click on File. Now remember how to do that. If you put your mouse over SolidWorks, that's when you get all your drop downs. Otherwise, you get a drop down that looks like this. Doesn't matter which way you get to it. The point is make drawing from part/assembly. When you click this, different dialog boxes will appear depending on your computer settings. Okay? Right now I'm getting what I call the old school dialog box. You might get the nice one, which is just the simplified dialog box. This is, I would have to argue, the really old approach. When you click on this one and you hit OK, you now will get the one that I think most of you are getting, which is the one I was expecting up front. But this is I'll call this a computer glitch for why I'm getting the other one up front. Now remember, we do not have metric size paper in this building, so you cannot pick a metric size border. We reviewed the metric sizes. A4 is about the closest you're going to get. I think it was A4. We went online. This was what we did on Monday. We went online and we talked about paper sizes. If you've been in my production drawing class, remember I taught you that A size paper is 8.5 by 11. B size is two 8.5 by 11s together. All we did was put them next to each other. If you measure it, you find out it's 14 by 11, right? Something like that. 8.5 times 2. That's not 14. Hello, 17. See? It's too early in the morning. 17 by 11, and then 2 of those make C size. Yada 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 and so on. So what's neat is when you see the images where they show you this. Okay? Just like regular 8.5 by 11 paper, metric does the same thing, where it's basically doubling, 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 boom, boom, boom. It just happens, and I don't know why they say A0 is the largest size paper. So they use the smallest number for the largest size paper. It's kind of like gauge sizes in electricity, right? The higher the gauge, the thinner the wire. Don't ask. So A4, I think, is about as close as you're going to get, if you look at the list, to about 8.5 by 11. We can never pick A4 paper because our printer is set to the American paper standards. And it's going to error out and say, hey, you don't have the paper size we're looking for. And it's not going to say, no problem, I'll print it on A size. No, it's not going to do that. It's just going to error out until you figure out how to fix it. Got it? So don't do it. That's my answer to you. So don't pick any of these. You do have to show all of them. Now what's really annoying about SolidWorks, unlike Inventor, Autodesk Inventor, in Inventor you're able to, you actually have a template for metric, ISO standard metric, DIN. So here you don't have that. You either, they're a bit of a snobbish over there with the Dassault. They'll have A size ANSI through E size ANSI. They'll have A0 ANSI, but you won't have an A size ISO. Get it? They just don't do it. On the Inventor side, for those of you in Autodesk Inventor, they give you everything. Here, they make you work for it. Like I said, when it comes to detailing, that's where SolidWorks falls on its face and breaks its nose. It is not very good at its detailing. I'm sorry. That is definitely a weak spot for them. So we are stuck picking A size ANSI because we don't have a choice. Then when we hit OK,
Is it AO?
no, not O's. The 0, 1, 2, 3, 4s are the metric ones. So just regular A size A and then ANSI. That's it. You don't have a choice. Say again?
The landscape?
Landscape. Yeah, we usually do landscape because we can maximize our view. What is nice is that, I'll open this up one more time. When you are, now this is a bit of a hog, and I wish they would let you pan while you have that open. That's another flaw of the product. When you look at your view palette, I'd have to lock it in place before it lets me do that. But even there we go. I have to lock the palette down. You have the ability to import your views, top view, front view, right view. You think it's set to, remember it's ANSI. What kind of view standards are for ANSI? First
Standard.
angle or third angle?
Is it first?
Third, okay? That's actually part of the
Third.
problem. And that's
Third,
what we
you're
talked
right.
about in class. We did not put that on the handout, which is sheet format. You have to intentionally pick it, right mouse button, and go to the properties of the sheet format. Properties of the sheet format. Properties of the sheet format. And you have to pick first angle. You would think up front, when I picked the dimension styles to be metric and ISO, you'd think it would have flipped this. No. No, no, no. Like I said, SolidWorks falls on its face and breaks its nose.
Okay.
I'm not, these are the little things that are annoying from a user's perspective. If I pick metric and ISO, why are you not putting me in first angle projection automatically? Okay? That's my opinion. The scale factor, it goes automatically to half scale. I suggest you do 1:1 scale. Okay? The view labels don't matter. That's when you're doing sectional views. The standard we're using, though, we don't have a choice. Like I say, it's a size ANSI. But we're not changing anything here. We're just changing up here. Okay? The name of the sheet, you can always change it to whatever you want. Daffy Duck, Henry Winkler. It's up to you. I'm leaving it as sheet 1. I'm going to hit OK, and that's what it looks like. Now, they give you an imposing, massive border that we talked about stripping down to something a little more manageable. Now, I forgot. Does anyone remember how I fixed that?
Right click on sheet format.
Sheet format,
Right
right
click.
mouse button,
Edit sheet format.
edit sheet format. You got it. Good job. Yep. Then we can strip it of a lot. There's a lot in here that we really don't need for our purposes. And you just delete them. I would like you to leave the bottom information. We don't necessarily need a title. And we can trim, go to sketch, we can actually trim off this piece, and that's pretty much all you need, is that little bottom section. When you hit OK out of this, and you OK out of this, then you have a more petite, manageable border. Your drawing is what matters. Remember that. The detailing of a model is what matters. The title block, the border should not own the drawing. The drawing owns the drawing, not these other things. So most companies will make relatively petite, whatever you want to call, whatever word you want to use, title blocks, not monster ones, okay? Now that monster title block might be fine on a C-size paper, a D-size paper, but it's unacceptable on an A-size paper. We're not going to change the scale of our model to accommodate the border. You hear the way I said that?
Mm-hmm.
Your title block needs to be modified to accommodate your model that you're bringing in, not the other way around. You don't go to half scale because my border is too big. My title block in my border is too big. You actually make your title block, lean out your title block. Okay? That's what we did. So if I go to view layouts, this is also terribly annoying. You see the standard 3 views? You see standard 3 views, if you leave your mouse over, it kind of tells you, hey, adds 3 standards. Or orthogonal views, the type and orientation of the views can be first or third angle. Here's the annoying part. Everywhere you read about first and third angle, when you do third angle, everywhere you read, when you look at, first angle, everywhere you read when we talk about first angle, it usually shows the front view, the right view, and the top view in this setup, traditionally, okay? And remember, third angle, which is the U.S. and one tiny island somewhere, if I remember correctly. First angle is the rest of the planet. In this one, you have front view, you have top view, and right view. What's terribly annoying is that you should anticipate, well, this is what I usually see when they talk about the difference between first and third angle. So you should think to see that when you bring this in. But as we discovered on Monday, that is not what you get. When you drop in your views, You get this. What's it, is this even correct? Hold on. This is this correct, guys? I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
If we assume this is the front view, that's actually the wrong view, which means I bet my settings change didn't change. Let's find out. Properties. See? I must have canceled out.
Mm.
How do I know this is wrong? Right? Okay, 1. The right view looks like a traditional right view that you and I are all accustomed to seeing, correct? Which is
Mhm.
wrong. By
Mhm.
default, it's wrong.
Mhm.
So I know this is done in third angle projection. I think when I was talking about the issues associated with that dialog box, I canceled out of it instead of okayed out of it. So I have to go fix that. Not like this, but if I go right mouse button and properties, now let's see if it'll fix itself. I think we all know the answer to this, but let's try anyways.
Mm.
Let's get you out of here. I wish there was a simple way, there we go. Let's see if it actually corrects itself. I'm gonna pick first angle. It's supposed to be 1:1 scale. That is definitely not 1:1. That looks like half scale, but we'll leave that alone. When I hit OK, it did, it corrected itself. Good job. See that? See that? That's at least thankfully it did that correctly. But it also has all those goofy tangencies in there. Are any of the hidden lines in this thing? None of them, right? So there's a lot of things wrong. So my 10 cents is instead of fixing the views, because we had that conversation already, the better solution is to delete the views, correct those elements that are important to get rid of, and then bring the views back in, okay? So these views, these are the views over here. So if your drawings come in that look like this, just delete them, please. Don't sit there trying to fix them. Just delete them. For the handout that I gave you that's posted on Blackboard, there are some critical things that you need to fix in order to minimize your workload when it comes to doing detailed drawings. 1, you go up here to your settings. I gotta scooch this over a little bit, sorry guys. There we go. And then under System Options, under the section called Display Style, remember we went through this with the last class, but I'm showing it to you again. Hidden lines removed is correct, but this is probably the most annoying thing that they left active. Tangent edges visible. I have no clue why anybody, any manufacturer, any CAD product would actually think that you would want that as a standard feature. That's another one where I say Solidworks, you fell on your face and broke your nose. It should always be removed. The last thing you want is to see those tangency lines on all your drawings. I don't understand why any manufacturer would think that that's a good thing. Okay? That should be removed. The next thing is further down, and that's actually on modeling. So we'll talk about that one next. But these things here are very, very important. So you need to make sure that this is hidden lines. Oh, I'm sorry, I take that back. This is hidden line removed. I have no clue why anybody would want hidden lines removed on a detail drawing. That's another one, sorry. So I think that SolidWorks needs to fix itself, and always the default should be hidden lines visible and tangent edges removed. I think it's a bonehead decision not to have it set up this way, because everybody has to fix that, okay? Because that is not the default setting when the product is loaded on the computer, FYI. Because our computers in this room do not tweak themselves, they cannot be allowed to be tweaked. They reset the default settings, and since IT is not made up of CAD wizards, got it? They're computer people, just generic computer people. They will load the software and literally just load it. So whatever the default settings are for the software, that's exactly what you get. Okay? So these two settings you have to change, and you have to change them every single time you turn the computer on. At work, it might be different, because there you can set your standards. On your laptops, it could be different, but for here, get used to changing this every single time. Got it? you turn the computer on. After you turn it on, it'll stay. But when you turn the computer off and come back to it, you'll have to reset it. We're gonna hit OK. Now we're gonna have detailed drawings that will look decent. We're gonna go to standard 3 views. We're gonna double click on this dude, and voila! But notice how they showed it to you. Do you think they would have shown it to you front, right, and top, the way you're accustomed to seeing it in different text material? Nope. The way they show it to you is exactly the same way as you would see it if it was a inch drawing. And if you are not accustomed to paying attention to this, which is why I'm bringing this up, it is very, very possible that you can view these things the wrong way. Okay? I need you to be cognizant of what you're seeing. Okay? This is the front view. This is the top view. But you have to be cognizant of remembering to see that. So if you look at the drawing and it looks backwards from third angle projection, that's correct. It's supposed to be metric. It's a metric drawing, so therefore we're using metric standards, including first angle projection. Okay? This is the left side view, even though it's on this side. So this is correct. This is first angle projection. It's just not presented the way you anticipate it being presented from a textbook standard. Got it? And let me get this out of the screen so it's in our... No, I know that I saw a bunch of you do this. How many of you did this? I know, it's okay. We all did it. And thinking, yeah, that'll fix it. When you update it, it's like, no, it's not fixing it. What's wrong? That doesn't work, guys. In Inventor, it does, but in SolidWorks, it doesn't. So those of you who are struggling with the SolidWorks quirks and you're wondering why, you're like, well, it's much easier to better. Well, it is. Sorry. Just letting you know. These are things that these guys have to fix. So I'm going to delete that view, and we're going to go ahead and project from this view the right view. Okay? That's literally what we have to do. But we have to do it manually. And you all know how much I love manual work, right? We've had that conversation enough time. Now, one of the things I do find odd is the scale didn't change, and I'm not sure why. So I'm going to click on the primary view, which is the front view. I'm going to scroll down, and I don't even know why it says custom scale. I didn't make it custom. It should just automatically use sheet scale. Okay? Once done, hit OK. Now we might have some, let's see, things that we might have to fix, but this actually looks pretty good. Now, I have to ask a few questions. Do we want a sectional view on this at all? Anybody interested in a sectional view on this thing? No? I could argue that this view would be better served by a sectional view. I can make that argument. For the sake of learning, I will. But I agree with you that this can be done just like this. Now the next step would just be detailing. But before I jump back, because we talked about that last class, before I go into detailing, let me show you how to do a sectional view. Not a simple one, because nothing we do in this class is simple, right? Try to do the good stuff.